The NBA trade deadline has come and gone. So now that the teams are set for the playoff run, let's take a look at how I categorize each team. The first category I have is looking at the draft. These teams have essentially zero chance making the playoffs, so their focus is better off on the draft for 2025. These teams being the Wizards, Nets, Hornets, Raptors, Pelicans, and Jazz. I like most of the moves that the Wizards made, getting rid of some of their better players and picking up a lot more picks for the draft in the future. The Pelicans and Raptors made a big trade, moving Brandon Ingram to Toronto. It's a little confusing at first, given that the Raptors had admitted earlier this season that they're in a rebuild with a younger core of RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Scotty Barnes. But the more you think about it, Brandon Ingram is quite young. He's in his prime right now. So as long as the fit works well within this core, they could make a jump next season. The next category I have is pretenders. These are the teams that are in the hunt for the playoffs or the play-in tournament, but have no chance of winning the championship. And personally, I don't believe they have a chance of even winning a round in the playoffs. So the teams that I feel will make the playoffs but not go super far are teams like the Pacers and Knicks. The Kings took a step back this year, unfortunately, and now they've added Zach LaVine to pair with DeMar DeRozan to become the Bulls of a couple years ago. The Sixers experiment with Joel Embiid and Paul George is not working out, mainly due to injury. No surprise there. The Hawks are still in rebuild mode, but hopefully they don't waste too many years of Trae Young's prime. The Suns are in a really bad predicament. They can't trade Bradley Beal because he has a no trade clause. Kevin Durant is aging, and they weren't able to move him at the deadline with all the rumors, and they're not really in a good spot for the playoffs or the play-in at the moment. As for other teams like the Bulls and the Heat, they're kind of in limbo at the moment. The Heat still have the lingering effects of the Jimmy Butler situation going on there. The next category I've created is called On the Rise. And these are teams that are either playing very well as of late or are young and have taken a big step this season. The teams that I did not expect to play very well this season are teams like the Pistons, Rockets, Blazers, and Magic, all with very young cores and have just taken a good step this year. The Spurs were a wild card team that I had earlier in my video at the beginning of the season, and they've proven to be a wild card for a good reason. They're on the rise. They've also added De'Aaron Fox, which will be a great addition to add to Wembanyama and Chris Paul, among others. Now, the Mavericks, Clippers, and Warriors, they're on the rise because they're playing well as of late. My opinion on the Mavericks trade is that they pretty much gave up the next 10 to 15 years for about a 3 to 5 year window with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. Personally, not a big fan. They made the finals last year with Doncic. I don't see why they couldn't make the finals again, either this year or in the next few years. So to trade away your next 10 to 15 years for an even shorter window that you can't guarantee will give you a championship, I believe is a wrong move. But we'll see. Nico Harrison's either going to be a hero or a zero. And the last category I have are contenders. These are teams that are serious threats to win the championship. Some more of a threat than others. I think out of all these teams in this category, the Lakers and the Bucks stand out as the least threatening. And then you have other teams like the Celtics and Thunder that have been on a tear all season. The Cavs had a great start. They were undefeated for the first, I believe, 14 or 15 games, something like that. And then you've got other consistent teams like the Grizzlies, T-Wolves, and Nuggets. The Grizzlies I had as a wild card, and again, they've proven to be a wild card for a good reason. So congrats to them. They've got to obviously keep it going and then keep the performance up in the playoffs. But so far, so good. So there you have it for the four categories. Now let's move on to the power rankings for each team. Starting off with number 30, the Washington Wizards. They're on a historic pace to possibly set the record for the least amount of wins in a season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to win a few more games this year. So number 29 is the New Orleans Pelicans. They're trying to switch up their core. They've gotten rid of Brandon Ingram. So we will wait and see if Zion can take more responsibility and take another step up here and stay on the court healthy. That's the most important thing for him. Number 28 is the Charlotte Hornets. Number 27, the Utah Jazz. Number 26, the Brooklyn Nets. Number 25 is the Toronto Raptors. Number 24 is the Philadelphia 76ers. They moved 9 spots down from my previous preseason ranking, which is absolutely shocking considering their core. Injuries have plagued them all season. Number 23 is the Chicago Bulls. Personally, I'm still waiting to see some sort of direction from them. I don't really see what they're trying to do as far as a core and how they're going to get out of this rebuild or this kind of mediocrity. Number 22 is the Atlanta Hawks. 21 is the Portland Trailblazers. They've surprised me a little bit this season. They're quite fun to watch, which is why they're a little bit higher on this list. Now moving on to number 20 is the San Antonio Spurs. I originally had them as number 17 in my preseason ranking. They've been playing decent basketball throughout the season. Hopefully the addition of De'Aaron Fox can improve their game towards the playoff stretch. Number 19 is the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham, first time All-Star this year. Congrats to him. He's been playing amazing. Um, let's see if they can take another step up the rest of the year and into next season. Number 18 is the Orlando Magic. I strongly believe that if Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner did not get hurt earlier this season and miss some time, that they'd be a lot higher in the standings. They'd have a lot more wins, and they'd be more of a serious contender for the playoffs and for the championship, to be honest. It's a very young team, but they've taken a huge step up. So maybe they can go on a run towards the end of the season and maybe make a splash in the playoffs. Number 17 is the Sacramento Kings. Unfortunately, they've gone down 7 spots from my preseason ranking. They've taken a step back, in my opinion, and they got a little bit older. They traded for Zach LaVine, so hopefully it works. Hopefully they improve, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Number 16 is the Phoenix Suns. Pretty much staying in the same position that I have them as the beginning of the season. They moved down from 14 to 16. I mean, not much change as far as what I thought they would be. Number 15 is the Miami Heat. Number 14 is a surprising team. I had them as a pretender in my preseason ranking, is the LA Clippers. James Harden's been playing great. Shout out to Norman Powell, former Raptor. He's been playing out of his mind. I feel like he could have deserved an All-Star appearance, maybe over James Harden, but obviously Harden is all-time a better player. And it is his team, so I can see why they would give him the nod over Powell, but Powell is definitely deserving of an all-star appearance. Number 13 is the Indiana Pacers. It was hard to repeat what they did last season. They made an NBA Cup championship appearance, and they made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Moving up 1 spot for my preseason ranking is the Golden State Warriors. Pretty much the problems that I thought they would have, they're having. Adding Jimmy Butler, I don't think really fixes any of those problems, so yeah, we'll see. Moving down 5 spots for my preseason ranking is the Dallas Mavericks. The reason they've moved down 5 spots is not for what's happened in the last week. They just haven't been playing well all season. Luka Doncic was out since Christmas with that calf injury, so we'll wait and see what happens with the addition of Anthony Davis. Now moving into the top 10, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves at number 10. I originally had them at number 4, so they've moved down 6 spots. Um, they're still in the top 10. They can still make a decent run in the playoffs here, but yeah, I guess the trade between the Knicks with Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle's not really worked out for them. I definitely feel like the Knicks won this trade so far, but there's still time, and they're still in a playoff spot. So number 9 is the Milwaukee Bucks. Moved down 4 spots from number 5 in my preseason ranking, but they've been kind of dealing with not a full lineup throughout the season, and they finally got rid of Chris Middleton, which was kind of sad to see, but it also was kind of time for him to go, and they needed some change. So we'll see if Kyle Kuzma can make a good addition. Um, I still have faith in Giannis and Dame, but we'll wait and see. Number 8 is probably the biggest surprise of the season is the Houston Rockets. I had them nowhere near even the play-in tournament, but yet they're one of the top seeds in the Western Conference. I have them at number 8 just because I don't fully trust them. It is a breakout season for them. Players like Alperen Şengün, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green. It is a good mix of veteran leadership and young talent, but I still don't fully trust them. We will wait and see, obviously, but I still feel number 8 is pretty solid for them. Number 7, maybe a bit of a controversial placement, but have the Lakers moving up 5 spots from number 12 to number 7. Um, yeah, I think that LeBron's been playing out of his mind for 40 years old, another All-Star appearance, blah, blah, blah. Like, it feels like normal for this guy, but what he's been doing is just insane. We're really gonna we're really taking it for granted and we're gonna miss it when it's gone. We're gonna wait and find out for Luka Doncic's first game as a Laker. It's gonna be interesting to see the pairing between him and LeBron because they're very similar players. It'll be kind of cool though. It is definitely kind of like a master and a protege kind of duo. So we'll wait and see how how much Luka can learn from LeBron and how much LeBron can teach Luka and how much they can gain chemistry together and how well they can play together on the court. So it'll be very interesting to see when that happens. Number six is the New York Knicks. They moved up twice. They moved up two spots from number eight. I love their team. I love their makeup, but again, I'm very worried about them fading in the playoffs. So now getting into the top five is the Memphis Grizzlies. They moved up 11 spots for my preseason ranking. Number four is the Denver Nuggets. Ever since winning the championship a couple years ago, they're pretty much in the mode where they just need to make the playoffs as a top four seed with home court advantage and then be healthy enough to be able to turn it on for the playoffs. I definitely see that possibly happening this year. Number three is definitely a surprise team. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they moved up 8 spots for my preseason ranking. Again, as mentioned earlier, they went on an amazing undefeated start to begin the season. They definitely come back to earth a little bit, but I definitely see them as a top seed in the East. They have a chance to make the Eastern Conference Finals and possibly, I mean, challenge the Celtics for an NBA Finals berth. I don't see that happening. But I think I think I see a second round matchup between them and the Knicks for a chance to play the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Number two is the Boston Celtics. They were my top team in the preseason rankings for good reason. They're the defending champions. They've really given me no reason to not put them at the top, but the only reason they're at number two is because there's been one team that has passed them and has been playing even better. So if we get a finals matchup between these two teams, it will hopefully be a very, very entertaining and fun series to watch. And so that being the number one team that's moved up 2 spots, they were number three in my preseason ranking. They are now number one is the OKC Thunder, led by Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been playing at an MVP level this season. There's been also a great step up from other players, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, who recently came back from injury, but other than that has been playing well this season. So the Thunder have definitely earned the top spot here in the power rankings after the trade deadline. So that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Appreciate you watching the video, and see you in the next one.